Hello everyone, my name is Prashant and the topic for today's video is Python script to check if website is up. Okay, so as a DevOps engineer or a system administrator, I believe that you have encountered this task um, in your career where you need to check if the website which you have deployed is up and running. Okay, so I have been assigned this task like I don't know 5 or 6 years ago, and in this video I'm going to show you how I approached to this problem. Okay, so when I started working on this problem, I as usual I performed the Google search, and some solutions which popped up is that in Stack Overflow or in Google search is like the people are using different kind of a modules to tackle this problem. So some of those modules are, let me show you. There's a request, URL lib2 and socket. So this is how people are writing their code to handle this, to solve this issue. Out of this, I really like the request module because it's pretty easy to work with, but you can write this code in by using any of this module. Okay. So let's go to the request official page, which is this guy. Okay. And here it is written, request is an elegant and simple HTTP library for Python built for human being. So I really actually like the way they have described the module request. Okay, that is, it's built for human being. Now in the simplest of language, for me, it is a module which I can use in Python to download any web page. So if there is a web page which is available on the web and I need to download it, I'm going to use the request module. Okay, I mean, request can be used for plenty of other tasks also, but this is a simplest explanation of request module. Okay, so let's start coding it. And before that, let me tell you that this is a third-party module, so you must need to install it. Okay, so and the way you can install a request module is just using the pip3 and request. In my system, it's already installed, but in case if it's not installed in your system, then you can use pip3 install request. Now the first task which we are going to do is import request. Okay. Now for this demo, I'm going to use my website called 100 Days of DevOps, which I was working earlier. I'm not actively working on this website anymore. I switched to something called 101daysofdevops.com. But I'm going to use this website to show you how to tackle this problem. Okay. So for that, I'm going to use a variable called product URL. And in that URL, I'm going to use this website. Okay. This guy. Okay. Next thing we are going to do is using request.get, then product URL, and then timeout equal to 5. So this is a timeout in 5 seconds. So what we are telling request is try to get this web page, which is this one. And if you are not able to get this web page in 5 seconds, just time it out. Okay. And let's save the output of this command to one variable res. Okay. And let's print this res. If you execute this code, you will get an exit code as 200. And you know that HTTP status code 200 means the request has succeeded. Okay. I want to show you few more operations which we can do with the request is, let's use dir. And dir is going to show us whatever the modules and attributes supported by this object. So let's print that. And here you can see some of them like is redirect, JSON, next, okay, raise for status, status code, text. So let's use this one. Status code. Let's print it. So basically we got the same output that we got there, like when we executed this code. So status code is 200, right? Let's use one other attribute called text. And as you can see, we got the web page, the complete web page, this 100 days of DevOps web page, this one. Okay. So now we can use something called a if statement, where we can specify if the status code of my request is not 200, then it means my website is not up. So what exactly we are going to do? We are going to send out an email to our team that, okay, yeah, this website is not up. That code we are going to write later, how we are going to send out an email. But for timing, I am just going to specify pass. Okay. That means I'm going to write this code later. Okay. So that is the first part where we have used the request just to check if my website is up and running or not. Okay. Now I have wrote the simple code just to check if my website is up and running. But in my case, my developers still complain that, okay, the website is still down, or in some cases, they still complain to me. So that means there's something wrong with this code. Okay. So actually there is nothing wrong with this code. Sometimes you will see that this is returning a status code 200, but your web page is not loading at all. Okay. So then I approach this problem in a different way, where rather than relying on the status of the web page to be coming as 200, I will rely on some content of this page. So if I say if this welcome is coming fine, then only I will say that my website is up and running. And in order to check if the content is there on the page, okay, I need to use a separate module, and that separate or different module is called BeautifulSoup. Okay. So just to explain it to you guys one more time, even if your website is up, or even if you're getting 200, there may be edge cases where the page itself is not loading. Okay. So in that case, the only way you can confirm that your website is up is parse to this page and check if this text is present in your website or not. Okay. And that you can do it with the help of one module called BeautifulSoup. Okay. So similar to request, BeautifulSoup is a third-party library, and in order to install it, you need to do something called BeautifulSoup version 4. Okay. And in order to import it, you need to use something called import bs4. Okay. Just see the difference. The name is BeautifulSoup4, but import wise, you need to do bs4. Okay. So what BeautifulSoup is going to do is like it's going to scrape your web pages for information. Okay. And let me show you its official page. So here, and let me go to their project page, like similar to here, but this guy. So this is a BeautifulSoup official page, and it's a library that makes it easy to scrape information from web pages, and it sits at top of HTML or XML parser, providing Python this. Okay, so the way you see, okay, let me reiterate that. So in the simplest way, when you see the web page in your browser, it's a HTML page. So I mean, if you look at this and go here, you can see the web page source, and this is the HTML documentation, right? And the word HTML is basically telling your browser to make the web page look. I mean, this is how the web page should look like. Okay, I know it's a oversimplified explanation of this. It's contained a lot of other things like CSS and other things and JavaScript, but just to explain you in the simplest of this term. Okay, so basically it's the HTML page. Now we got that. So let me tell you one more thing. If you go to this view page source, so if you see here, you see all these HTML tags, HTML head meta. So basically your HTML is nothing. It's, you see these angle brackets, these start of the angle bracket and this end of the angle bracket. These are called HTML element. Okay. And let's now open the developer tool. So you need to press the F12 key in your keyboard to get this developer tool to see the same page. Okay. And now this is a text which I need to find it out, right? So I can just hover over it, right click on it and then do inspect. Okay. Then here you will see that this comes under this H2 welcome. Okay. And now let's start writing the code and then I will tell you why I come to this, right? So the next thing you are going to do is, first thing you need to import. Second thing is soup. I'm taking any variable, you can take any variable, and then do bs4 dot beautiful soup. Okay, let me tell you why exactly I'm doing. And now the request which we have, the page which we have got by this request module, I'm taking the text version of it. Okay, so what I am doing it over here, I'm calling a beautiful soup module, and which is just going to return this object called soup. Okay, next let me use one more variable called element, and then I'm going to use something called select. Okay, so what select will do, okay, one second. So this is a select. So this soup object we have is ready to find the object element. So what selector will do, selector will return the, so basically by using a selector, we are trying to find that HTML object. Okay, so how we are going to find that HTML or the CSS selector? Okay, so let me reiterate that. I know it's confusing. So we have created this soup object. Okay, now this soup object we have is ready to find the HTML object, and to do that we need to use the select method and pass a CSS selector. So how we are going to pass the CSS selector is, just go back to this web page. We have already, I just do this inspect comes out here, come here, copy and copy selector. Okay, go back to your code, not here, do this. Okay, and just print it else, not this. Okay, so now you see that we are getting this warning. Okay, in order to get rid of this warning, we just need to use something called HTML parser. So there are a lot of changes in this beautiful soup module. So I mean, just a warning. It's not going to break your code. But if you see here, it is saying that you need to use this HTML parser. Okay. So let me re-execute this code again. So now you see you're going to get a list. Okay, and this is written by what? This selector. Okay, now to get the first element, so you see in the list, to get the first element we are going to use 0. Okay, and we need to get it in the text format. We got this element called welcome. Okay, now similar to the request, what we can do is we are going to write the if block. If element.text is not equal to welcome, okay, then we are going to write the code here. Okay. Now we have worked with this request. We are done with the beautiful soup. Now the third part is sending out the email if something goes bad. And for that, I'm going to use something called Smtplib module. Smtplib module. Okay. Now the first thing which we need to do to use the Smtplib module is to create a SMTP session. Okay. And let me put this in a function. Okay. So this guy. Okay. But in case, I mean, you can use any of the SMTP provider, but in this case, I'm using Google. Okay. smtp.gmail.com. Now for you to use Google, you need to do some modification to your email address. So first modification is you need to enable something called a secure app, less secure app. Okay. I'm going to attach this document in the description of this video. It's pretty simple, just to turn on this allow secure app. The second thing is you need to create a app password. So remember that you cannot use your password. You need to use something called the app password. And to do that, you need to enable the two-step verification. Okay. So this thing which we need to do is first less secure app. Second one is to create this password. And this is different from your email ID password. Okay. The next thing which we need to do once we have done this is we have create the SMTP session. Next, we need to start the TLS for security purpose. Okay. This is just to start the TLS session. The next thing is we need to authenticate to the Gmail. Now, in order to authenticate to the Gmail, you need to give the email ID and a password. And remember, this is the password that we have created in last step. This password, app password. Now, I don't want to pass this password on this code. So what I can do, I can use something called import OS module. Okay. And in this import OS module, I can give this as an environment variable. This and this. Okay. So basically in your command line, what you can do, you need to do export this guy email address. Okay. Sorry, not this one. This one, capital one. Export email address is equal to whatever be the email address, abc.gmail.com. And similarly, you need to do it for password, email_pass. And once again, let me repeat it. This is the password that you have created using this password app password. Okay. So once you've done that, your session will be authenticated to the Google. Okay. Now you need to build the message. Okay. What is the message you want to send when your website goes down? So this is the subject of the message. This is the body, and this is how the message will look like, where I'm using the F string. So this is subject and this is the body. This is pretty simple, right? Finally, in order to send an email, you need to use s.sendMail email address. I'm using the same email address, and this is the sender, this is the receiver, and this is the message. So in this case, I'm using both sender and receiver as the same email ID, which does not matter, right? In this case, but in your case, it will be different, right? And finally, s.quit. Okay, so let me repeat. First thing is we need to create a SMTP session, which we are doing in this step. Then start TLS. Then we need to log in. In order to log in, you need to perform these two steps. You need to enable this less secure app and need to create this app password. And I don't want to hard code the value, and it is not a good practice to put a password in this password file, in your Python code. So I'm using the os.environment.get to get this email and this password. And the way you can do it is via the export. Okay, and once again, I know I'm repeating it. The password is this app password. So this is the password you need to export. Once you have done that, you will be logged in or authenticated to the Gmail. Then you can build your own subject. Okay, the subject will be something like which will grab your attention. So I will say this: my 100 days of website is down, or 100 days of website is down. Then in order to send an email, you need to give the sender, receiver, and the message, and finally the quit. Now we can use this function in our code. So the moment this goes down, this will be triggered, and this goes down, this will be triggered. Okay. So first let me show you how this will look like, and let me do one thing. Just to show the email part, let me comment out the code. Okay, and let me comment this guy, and in order to make this work, I need to unindent the code, right? So okay, let me execute this script. Okay, and if I go to my email ID, I should have received a new email now. So see, I received this email. 100 days of website is down, check the status of the website. Okay, so that means the email service is working fine. So I can uncomment this code again. And let me indent this, because in Python we need the indentation. And okay, so this is a gist of this code. Okay, it's not a perfect code, so let me show you what does I mean by that. So here I'm trying to search for this keyword welcome, but in case if I'm going to use some other web page, let me say contact us. So let me use this one, right? Contact us. Now if I try to execute this code, you see this is going to break. Okay, so the better way to handle this situation, or the good way to handle this situation, is try to keep this part, sorry about that, in try except block, right? Try except exception as E, and then even in this case I want to send out an email, even in the case of an exception. Okay, I mean, it's a much elegant way to handle these kind of issues. So if you go back here, go back to the email, you see you will get a new email. Okay, so this is a little bit about like how you can verify if your website is down by the help of this simple code. Okay, and like I mentioned, there is a lot of scope of improvement in this code, but this is just to get started. But yeah, So thanks for watching this video. If you have any question, please post in the comment section. I will try my best to answer those questions. Thanks once again. Bye.